Hello again, it's Mr. Pete, your YouTube shop teacher, and this is episode 67B, the answer portion of my What Is It Mystery Tools series. Be sure and go back and watch part A, which is 67A, the question part. Now, I'll remind you that there are 134 videos altogether in this series, so go to the description below and I'll put a link to that playlist. I was very much surprised at how almost everybody had the answers, and even if you're cheating a little bit, I don't really call it cheating, but looking up images on Google or taking some of the hints that I've got, because there's a couple rather obscure items here, but there was no conclusive answer to item 1. Obviously it's a hammer, but most people said that it's some type of masonry hammer or roofing hammer. No, we know what those look like. And someone said it's a demolition hammer because but it's very heavy and out of balance. This is somewhat of a claw here that could grip a nail, but I just think it's a bad design and it was created by a committee. So it's just a hammer is what it is. Use it for whatever you would want. It's not a chipping hammer for welding either. Item 2, remember I had the gauge covered and it reads in volts. This is for checking battery cells on the older style 6-volt batteries that had what some of you call the asphalt top, where you actually had access to the connectors between the 3 cells. And this was adjustable. These points were adjustable depending on the size of the battery. And I can still see my buddy Stewie doing this at the Phillips 66 station, poking that right down through the asphalt and checking it to see if the battery was good. And it checks, it creates a load through this ribbon here, which I believe is a resistor. Totally obsolete on modern batteries, plus we do not have, well, we have 6-volt batteries, but you got a big AutoZone to find one. Nobody knows what they are. But that's an interesting item, and this is really an unused condition because it wasn't long before corrosion set in on all these points from the battery acid. Battery cell tester. Again, totally shocked at how many knew what this obscure item is, number 3, but I did give a clue that really gave it away when I said Mergenthaler invented the Linotype, but I suppose these were used on the Ludlow machine and the Intertype and various types of typesetting machines, and this created spaces, whatever was needed, between words so that you could justify that line of type. That is, the line of type would fill out that line all the way to the end, not like the way you typed with the typewriter. So that's what that is. Let me show you a couple pictures here that might be helpful if you really do not even know what a Linotype is, because it's long obsolete. But they still had them when I was in college at the University Press. Well, there's a Linotype machine. And every newspaper had an entire row of these. We took a tour of the News Tribune when I was in 8th grade, and the operator typed everyone's name and gave us that slug that said Lyle Peterson on it. But boy, was it hot around these machines because there was a lead pot around the back side of it. And there's the keyboard for a Linotype. It's really nothing like a typewriter or computer keyboard. The men that operated these, and I do mean men, were quite skilled, and I think it took a long time to learn how to use one. Probably there was an apprenticeship. And there are the wedges and how they created the space between words. And remember, what you're seeing here isn't the actual lead type. It's a mold is what it is. It's I believe they call them a matrix. So those are separate words there, and the spacing is created with those wedges. It really was ingenious. It was a very complicated machine. Kevin Martin sent me a real good description in the comments of what these, really they're called space bands, are. So you can pause your video, or I'll put a still of this at the end if you want a more detailed description, probably more accurate than what I told you verbally. And thanks, Kevin, for sending that in. And here's item 4, still in the case of my drafting set that I used in college, and I'll show you how to use it. A lot of you knew what it was. I was surprised. When you made a drawing, and especially a tracing, and if it was going to be inked, and you had a series of concentric holes and the center being represented by those two intersecting lines, often the hole would get wallowed out as you made repeated circles with different radii. So this little centering device is put on your paper, and there's 3 little pins on the back of it, and X marks the spot. You get it right on center, and that serves as a temporary center for your compass or your inking pen or whatever you're using, so you can swing your circle like that and do that as many times as you want without in any way damaging the paper or wallowing out that center hole. I think my lead just moved on me. There you go. That's the purpose of number 4. I really thought this was neat when I was 18 years old, but I guess it's really nothing, huh? As a sidebar, I always liked this type of compass, but I didn't have it years ago. I'd never seen such a thing. So instead of making all of your movements with a little hand wheel, you can do a rapid movement. Pretty neat. This is a Hurley brand. And lastly, for extra credit, this is a Sun Electric Model AT76 armature tester, better known in the layman's terms as a growler because of the noise that it makes, and it is used for checking armatures for starters and generators and motors and so on. Nowadays it's kind of obsolete because we just R&R when we repair a car, meaning we remove and replace. We don't repair. But all repair shops years ago had one of these, and some of the smaller auto electric type stores will still have these, and motor shops will have them. This would check for shorts and opens and continuity. There's a continuity tester here. In fact, I will make a standalone video on how to use this at a later date. Often you used a hacksaw blade, but this came equipped with an actual piece of metal instead of a hacksaw blade. Either would work, but a lot of people knew what this was, but the auto shop teacher at the high school threw it away. I dug this out of a big dumpster, the kind you had to crawl into to retrieve it, because when he came there he didn't know what it was and just threw it away along with a lot of other neat things. But that's the way it goes now. Well, thank you for watching. There's a few still pictures at the end. Continue to watch my videos. Leave a comment if you will. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.